If you're new, my name is Cassandra. It is bright and early this morning. You can probably tell by the early morning lighting coming through the window. But today we broke out a Presto pressure canner. I've never used this before. It was a goal of mine this garden season to learn, to actually get some things on the shelf. We went out 2 nights ago and harvested all the carrots and the first batch of potatoes from the permaculture orchard and double checked what I had harvested out of the raised beds a couple of weeks ago, and we got just a bucket full of potatoes here. My plan is to start with the carrots, which are outside on the deck, and then if I can get through carrots, to come through and start canning potatoes. We're gonna see how it goes, because if I start to get overwhelmed with the pressure canner, I'm just gonna stop with where I'm at. But that is my overall goal for the day. I don't know if that's plausible because I've never pressure canned before, so I don't know exactly how long each batch is going to take. So I'm just going to start slow. I have jars in the dishwasher right now. Baby is still sleeping, so I'm going to head out probably on the deck and start peeling carrots. And then once everything is peeled, I will bring my peeled carrots inside to do a second rinse and start chopping to start packing jars. I have my manual here. This is the 23 quart pressure canner, so I would be able to stack, but I don't have a second like shelf to put on top of my pints. So we're gonna see how much we can get done today. My plan is to can most of my carrots, if not all of my carrots, in pints. I think that that's a better quantity for my family for how we like to cook and eat carrots. I don't think we would use a whole quart at a time. For my potatoes, I do want to do those in quarts, but we will see what the jars end up telling us how we're going to can, because I'm not buying new jars. I'm just going to use what we have. So we will see, because the amount of food is going to dictate what gets put into what. So we will see how that goes. But let's go ahead and head outside, start peeling carrots and getting ready to pack jars. I think what I'm going to do is peel everything, wash everything, pack them into jars, and then pour boiling water over the top of them and then load them into the pressure canner, versus boiling them on the stove for a couple of minutes in the water and then packing them that way. That's just what I think is going to be easiest for me and what makes most sense for me personally, but we will see how that goes. Here are our bin of carrots. I have a couple different varieties in here. These are some fingerling carrots. I got these seeds from MI Gardener. I'm pretty sure they might have been from Baker's Creek, but my plan with these are to just peel them and then can them, just long, skinny, thin carrots. I think these would be really fun roasted. We like to do like a honey glazed carrot, and I think these are going to be perfect for that, like a really fun carrot. We have some rainbow carrots in here, so lots of different shapes going on here. These bigger ones I want to slice for pot pies, casseroles, soups, things like that. I ended up spending about an hour and a half peeling carrots, and I didn't even get them all processed and taken care of. And I'm not gonna lie, there were many times during me taking forever to peel these carrots, I thought, is this even gonna be worth it, spending all this time now? And then I got to thinking, how many times this winter am I going to be so grateful that I have peeled and canned carrots on the pantry shelf? And that's kind of what kept me peeling carrots. I did not peel all of my carrots because I have some meal in a jar recipes I wanted to can, and I knew that I had some broccoli coming out of the fall garden, and I wanted to do more blanched broccoli and carrots. It's one of our favorite vegetable mixes, and I wanted to have some carrots for that. So I did keep about a fourth of these carrots not peeled and ready to go so I can preserve them in other things. I'm also hoping to save a couple of these carrots for hunting season. Youth hunt is a weekend from when I'm filming this, and I'm hoping that if one of our kids is able to get a deer during youth hunt, I'll be able to can some venison stew with some of these carrots. So that was kind of my thinking on these, but this is why I wanted to do this outside. All of this mess stayed outside and was easy for me to just sweep off the deck. for the chickens to get, and it saved a lot of mess in my kitchen. Once I had what I thought was going to be enough for one pressure canning batch, I came in, rinsed everything off really well, and started chopping them. Whenever you're doing something new, it does take a little bit longer just because you are trying to figure out what is the most efficient way for you personally to process these. And I didn't really dawn on me until after I had chopped all these carrots that I do have a food processor. I could have just shoved all of these carrots through my food processor, but to be honest, I've only had a food processor, a really nice one, for not even a year, and sometimes I forget that I have it and that I can use it. So it doesn't always dawn on me that I should be using that more than what I do. So I need to remember that for next time I'm doing big batches of things. But then I started grabbing all of my thin, skinny carrots that we had talked about, and I packed these like I pack my pickles. So I ended up just picking through my pile of carrots here, grabbing all of my skinny carrots, and I gave them a chop right down the middle to split them in half so that they would fit in the jar with my 1-inch headspace, and shoved them into my pint-sized jars. When my husband got home, he saw these canned carrots and he told me how cool he thought they looked in the jar, and you'll see them later. They definitely do look really cool. I'm excited for these for roasting in the oven. We like to do honey glazed carrots, which we had already talked about, but we also do these things that are like carrot fries, and we will roast them in the oven. You can do it in an air fryer as well with a little bit of olive oil, and then my kids like a little bit of garlic salt and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. It's really, really good. For my pressure canner, I put in my splash of vinegar, my 3 quarts of water, and put my boiling water over my carrots. Now, my father-in-law did end up showing up later in the day after I had already canned everything, and I had 2 of these carrots not seal on me. And he told me he thinks it's because I didn't have enough water in the jar, but I thought I had filled them up to the 1-inch headspace, so I don't know what happened there, but I'm gonna trust him because he's been doing this a lot longer than I am. So next time I do this, I'm definitely gonna make sure I'm filling up the jar full. Got our jars ready to go. Look how gorgeous these look, but we're gonna load these in. I already took my weight off of my canner so I don't accidentally get it going with the weight on. I felt like if I was gonna forget anything, it was gonna be that. Everything I understand, we're gonna give her a whole lot of heat in the beginning, and once the steam gets rolling, once we have 10 minutes of steam coming out of our steam valve, we're gonna put the weight on and turn the heat down. Hang on, I have to reread. We're gonna put the top on here. There we go. It has little arrows here. It's hard to see, but there are little arrows here that you line up, and then to close it, we're gonna move it this way. Okay, so I'm gonna reread my instructions quickly because, okay, 25 minutes at 11 pounds of pressure. I just want to read, at what point do I turn the heat down? Do I do it right when I put the weight on, or do I wait for it to get up to pressure and then turn it down? Okay, so from what I'm reading, it sounds like you're only really going to adjust the heat a whole heck of a lot if you need to. So I'm gonna wait for my steam to come. After 10 minutes of steam, I'm gonna put my weight on. I'm saying this to you, but also to me. Hearing it and reading it is what helps it stick for me. So here is that. Okay, I don't think this is gonna be as hard as I thought it was. So far, I'm very happy that I got water bath canning down to a pat and under my belt for a handful of years before I even tried pressure canning, just because I'm aware of the practices, how to pack my jars, with rims, lids, all that stuff, wiping my rims. I've got all of that down to muscle memory. It's just mindless to me. So it feels good to know that I've got all of that taken care of. I don't really have to worry about that stuff. I'm not super overwhelmed. So that way, when it comes to just actually the pressure canner, I can take my time and I'm reading it. I'm not so overwhelmed. It's not like the whole process is brand new to me. Very happy with that. I'm not feeling as nervous about this as I have in years past thinking about pressure canning. I'm actually kind of excited about it. So that makes me feel good. I feel like I'm ready for it. I was talking to my father-in-law last night, who's been pressure canning for, gosh, probably 50 years, 55 years. And I was trying to coax him to come over today and baby me through this, but he's like, you've got it. You're a smart girl. You'll figure it out. It's not hard. It's just a matter of managing heat. If your pressure's too high, turn your heat down. If your pressure's not high enough, turn your heat up. Don't overcomplicate it. So I'm going to remind myself that today. He told me if I got overwhelmed and I needed help, he would come over, but he really wanted me to just give this a try on my own, and I'm kind of happy he did, because he's right. It's not super hard. I can do this. I'm just nervous, and there's something to be said about a healthy nerve, because you're going to be watching it. You're going to be on it, at least in my opinion. I also think a lot of my fear comes from the fact that my husband is a steam fitter, so I'm a little bit more aware of issues that can happen when pressure of steam gets too high and buildings blow up and boilers blow up, because my husband repairs those things on a daily basis. So I'm a little bit more nervous on that, and he's nervous for me. So I'm really gonna watch it. I'm gonna take my time and just move slow, and that is my plan for today. I just want to talk about how I'm feeling, because I think it is normal to be a little nervous when it comes to these things. A lot of people are very intimidated by pressure canning, myself included. So we're gonna see how this one batch goes. That's why I started small on my carrots. If this goes well, I might move on to canning potatoes. We'll see how that goes. My kids are playing in the front, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a squat right over here so I can see them out the front window and hang out with them, but I can still hear the pressure canner. I can still come over here and see what's going on. And I think while I'm watching them, I might as well just peel potatoes and kind of force myself to get in this. I can start packing jars. I'm going to get my water reboiling here, because that's how I want to do my potatoes as well. And we can just keep kind of slowly and steadily getting things taken care of today. So lots of new skills happening today. I'm very excited about that. So I'm gonna get my I'm gonna wait to start my water, just because I have to wait for these to get up to pressure anyways, and that's gonna take another 25 minutes. So I've got time. I'm gonna leave my water, but I am gonna peel my potatoes, and I'll catch back up with you guys in a minute. Once I had all of my carrots peeled and rinsed, I did the same thing. I just cut these into smaller cubes, what I thought we would like, and we went ahead and packed these in our jars the same way. I did also have one of these jars not seal in the pressure canner. My father-in-law said the same thing. It didn't have enough liquid in it, but once again, I thought I had filled these properly, so I don't know if it's just a coincidence, if it is just something that happened. I'm not sure, but that being said, we did get to try these potatoes, and we made these in a breakfast hash and we loved them. So we already know that we like these canned potatoes, which is good to know. I've got 10 minutes of solid steam, so I'm going to place my weight and start watching my pressure gauge here and adjusting my heat when necessary. We're just gonna keep packing some of these potatoes. I was able to get them peeled and rinsed all in the time it took that canner to get the steam rolling. Whoa. I had a package arrive. I ordered a steam juicer and it just came in. So I have a lot of apples. So I think while I'm gonna be in the kitchen anyways, I'm going to start washing apples and kind of cutting those up as well. And maybe we'll break the juicer out and finish processing apples. I am soaking these apples in water and vinegar just to get them a little bit cleaner, because I'm not going to peel these before I put them in the juicer. A variety of apples in here. I think I have 4 different varieties of apples. I'm going to just make sure I'm cutting off any damaged bits here, because these were picked a little bit ago already. So I just want to make sure that any bad spots I'm getting out, and then I think I'm gonna cut these in either halves or fourths depending on the size of the apple. And once we get our first pressure can batch is just about done. It only has a couple minutes left. I put lunch in the oven, so that's taken care of. I ended up getting 4 quarts of potatoes here. Not super terrible. I'm not upset about it. So we have more potatoes coming, so this is gonna be a good test batch for me. So far, pretty excited about these. My water is just about boiling and ready to put on top of these. Now that I have pressure canned, I think that if you haven't pressure canned and you're wanting to do it but it intimidates you, one thing that I wish somebody would have told me is that the noises that the pressure canner makes are normal. It isn't like a water bath canner where it's just boiling water. There is some rattling. There can be some intimidating noises when the weight is jiggling around, but it is supposed to do that. The way my father-in-law put it for me is that your weight should be at a party. It should be dancing, it should be wiggling around, it should be having a good time, but it is not a disco. It's not supposed to be completely freaking out and raging all over the place, but it should definitely be dancing, having a good time, wiggling around. And I kept that in mind because there were definitely some noises where I was like, is it supposed to be making that? That sounded a little weird. But all in all, here are our first batch of carrots. And I did not anticipate how long it would take for things to come down from pressure. Once my carrots were done, it took a full 45 minutes for my pressure canner to come back down to pressure and it be safe for me to open it up. So that's a huge difference between water bath canning and pressure canning, is that once the water bath canner is done, you can let it sit for 5 minutes or so with the lid off just to give your jars a chance to cool off just a hair before you pull them out of the canner. And you can get right into your next batch, so it goes a lot quicker. And pressure canning is not that. So it took 45 minutes after both my batch of carrots and my batch of potatoes. So this can be an all-day thing for sure. Once it came to my apples and my steam juicer, you just fill the bottom portion full of water, and your second portion there is where all the juice falls, and your third all the way up on the top is where you put all of your apples, and it's just a strainer. So your apple juice strains into the middle section where it catches the juices, and then all the water goes on the bottom and it steams all of that to create the juice. I really like this. I like it a lot. I will be using it more often. Of course, our beautiful potatoes coming out. And this is where my father-in-law came over, so I didn't get any more footage of me actually canning the juice, but you just strain it out into the jars and put it in the water bath canner. 10 minutes, easy peasy, and it was a really cool day. This day was not about quantity. This day was about trying new things, getting used to some new equipment, and just becoming more well-rounded. We ended up getting 2 quarts of apple juice, 4 quarts of potatoes, and 7 quarts of carrots out of this day. I hope that you guys can use this video as a little bit of inspiration to step out of your comfort zone, try something new, whether that be a new canning recipe, pressure canning, a steam juicer, whatever it is, and just help to expand your pantry shelf. I hope wherever you guys are, you are having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys in another one.